What's going on, family? We are back. We are doing a MLB Draftkings Best Ball draft live here on YouTube on the channel. Your fantasy football dad. Don't let the name fool you. It's just we're doing fantasy baseball today, and we're gonna make sure we draft a team in our MLB Best Ball 100K four-seamer 20 max tournament. It's only $4, but we kind of shared my past videos of why I enjoy best ball compared to having to play a fantasy baseball league, not having to worry about setting your lineups for the week or for daily. It's a lot easier, and it's just kind of fun being able to draft a team and not have to worry about injuries or which pitchers are picking up pitchers and picking up batters, trying to make your team the whole season. You draft once, draft it right now with 1 month left before the season starts. Season starting March 25th. We got 1 month left to draft your best ball teams, and it is awesome. All the tournaments are live on Underdog and Draftkings. If you haven't checked my previous video out, please check it out. I did draft a underdog team, and so a little bit of different in a sense we're scoring, but the rosters are kind of the same. 20 people, 20 players on your team, and then you kind of figure out where you want to play how many outfielders, how many infielders, and how many pitchers you want to take. So with DraftKings, very similar to Underdog in terms of roster setup, but scoring a little bit different. So we want to make sure that their bonuses or all those things are included. So we want to make sure that we kind of get in and enjoy the format on both sites here. So a little bit of it's MLB. The injuries are always interesting, and they always kind of pile up during spring training. So it hasn't been too bad this week. Last week was kind of a bloodbath in terms of the players that are injured. Obviously, the Hamid Bone scandal has taken over and took out three, maybe two, I would say, premier players that were kind of getting drafted in the first two rounds: Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor. So that's obviously their ADP has kind of adjusted to the news. Corbin's kind of fallen out of the first round a little bit, or maybe a little bit end of the first round. He was kind of going early, early 4 or 5 picks of the first round on both sites, but now he's kind of moved down to the end of the first, early second. And obviously Lindor's kind of fallen out of the second round and into the third, and even kind of to the end of the third. So he's a bit of value. Obviously, if you're not concerned about the injury, mixed in terms of news on what happens when a player comes back from that injury, and even there's been an actual study that's been done, and they say that the power is not too bad. It's obviously a little bit of a diminished power for a bit, but the chances are that they're coming back and they should be back to normal. So it'll be interesting to see how they do as they come back. And then kind of get an idea of if you were able to get some value out of picking them in the second or in the third round for Lindor. So and then we obviously have the pitcher injuries, which are always scary. Pablo Lopez, who's about maybe going in the, I think it was in the early hundreds or maybe late 90s. Obviously the ace for the Minnesota Twins, he's out most likely for the season. So. And then we have Schwellenbach and Waldrop from the Atlanta Braves. They're obviously injured, so now a little bit of like one of the strengths of their pitching is kind of taking a hit, and so now it's always that those the words you don't want to hear when you draft a pitcher, the TJ or the tears or anything like that. So there's always value to be had. Obviously, a lot of pitchers are coming back this year from Tommy John. Some pitchers, like for example Shane McClanahan, hasn't even pitched for I think the last 3 years or something. So it's crazy how a guy has to come back and just basically just starting all over again. But like I said, not something you have to worry about if you're playing best ball. You just draft this right now, draft your team, and hopefully as it gets started, you don't have to worry as the season goes on. It is what it is. You just kind of have to take the lumps as they come, but not having to worry about having to go through waivers and picking up players is the benefit of best ball. Because if you are a dad like me, that is too much work fantasy football takes up too much time throughout the year as it is, and then so and the summer is obviously all about the kids, so it's too hard to kind of keep up with baseball throughout the year. That's why I kind of enjoy best ball for the first couple of months after football, after football is done. It's a good segue into MLB baseball. So yeah, just waiting on this draft to get filled. If you are online, please like and subscribe. Gonna be picking up the fantasy football content pretty quick here as well. Just kind of waiting for, obviously there's the pre-draft and the pre-free agency board. All those tournaments are out now. I kind of wait till free agency. I did do some big board and the little board drafts, just to kind of get an idea of what's going on with the ADP. But obviously free agency kind of gives you an idea of where teams are looking. But at the end of the day, the draft is really, kind of gives you an idea of how the things are going to shake out. And once the draft is over, you're basically ready to go for the season. So like I said, football is up and running, and it will be throughout the year until we start back up in September. But like I said, right now the focus is baseball, so we'll kind of go on that. I do have some thoughts on who I think the next Cal Raleigh is for this year. Obviously he came out of nowhere. And I kid you not, I was heavy on him last year based on on his counting stats and just the increase overall that he's been kind of displayed. So I have a couple of guys that I've been following that kind of fit the mold of Cal Raleigh. Like is it going to happen? I don't know for sure, but I have my thoughts on who I can kind of target later in this draft. They can maybe put up, or maybe better than last year. I think they're players that are getting better, and their WOBAs and their barrel rates are increasing. So I think there are probably some hidden gems here in this draft. Maybe not too much. Like obviously everyone knows who they are in terms of names. So it's not right out of the board or 200 or 300 ADP. They're right kind of in the middle of the draft where you can kind of grab them in the 9th and 10th rounds. But I think they're obviously, could be a little bit of a surprise value picks, I guess, and what I'm trying to say for later in the draft. So I'll kind of go through those if they come up. And if I'm able to draft them, that'd be great if they kind of fit the team. If they don't, I'll maybe talk about them when they do get drafted, and I can kind of let you know who I think, potentially are good picks that you can kind of make later in your drafts. So even though this is best ball, the content here and the things I talk about can obviously translate into your fantasy baseball leagues if you are part of those as well. Just to kind of give you an idea of where players are kind of slotted in this year. So I'm kind of taking a look at a couple of projections. I'm looking at ATC projections on Fangraphs for pitchers and the BATX projections for batters on Fangraphs as well. And then I do take a look at MLB.com for the projected opening day lineups and rotations for every team. That's obviously not a perfect situation in terms of what you're going to get for information. It's not kind of gospel, but at the same time, it kind of gives you an idea of what, in terms of based on spring training, injuries, and what's going on, of where players are kind of slotted in for opening day. Obviously, those lineups, those rotations change throughout the year based on injuries, based on performance. So it's not something you can kind of rely on all year, but at the same time, it's something that you can kind of base on, kind of get an idea of where people fit right now as you do your draft. So without anything further to say, I'm going to kind of get into this draft. I pick number 8. And as you can see, there is a few individuals, and I kind of normally go outfielder first because there's a shitload of them in the first round, and they're all awesome players. So you can't go wrong with this little cluster of outfielders that we kind of will be able to draft at our 8th pick. So I'll kind of just highlight them here. You usually have Kyle Tucker, Julio Rodriguez, and Fernando Tatis. So I'm happy to go with either one of those. I think for this draft, I'll probably go with Tucker because I think he'll be a good fit in that Dodgers lineup. It doesn't hurt to bat after Shohei and just slot in before. Right now, it looks like Tucker is going to be fitting into the second slot, so after Shohei, so that's always a positive. And then you got Betts and Freeman right behind them. So I do like Kyle Schwarber. I took him in the last draft I did live for the underdog draft. He puts up good stats, obviously on DK because of the home runs. As you can see, 10 points kind of per game. So he does go. So I have the choice between Julio, who had a great season last year, obviously with the Mariners, came up a little bit short against the Blue Jays, but we're right there to kind of make it to that World Series. And I like Kyle Tucker. I probably would go with Julio, but at this point, just because of Tucker, I'm kind of excited to see how he fits into that Dodgers lineup. And I'm going to take him here on the 8th spot. And like I said, Corbin Carroll right here at slot number ADP of 14 has fallen quite a bit. He was probably going number 5 or 6 in these drafts when they first started. So quite a bit of a fall, but potentially a value. I don't really mind taking him at that spot because, like I said, let's be a little optimistic and glass is half full and say that Corbin Carroll comes back and a little bit of a decrease in power, but maybe doesn't miss too much time, maybe a few weeks or a month. And you got Corbin Carroll, who's potentially obviously a first round value in the second round. So definitely like that. You got your I think this draft's going pretty normally. No surprises. Julio goes right after. Cal Raleigh kind of goes early, goes in the first round. He's kind of been going in the second round, so that's a little bit early for Cal Raleigh. Paul Skeens, normally the first or second pitcher taken off after Skubal. And then you got Tatis going after Ramirez. Kurtz, Crochet kind of goes a little bit early, so we have a little bit of a choice here. I can either go with, depending on who our next guy takes. So I'm going to take Corbin Carroll. I love that value. Like I said, I'm kind of optimistic. I'm hoping he comes back and everything's back to normal. And I'm getting potentially a first rounder in the second round. So I'm kind of hoping that, I'm kind of downplaying the injury. I'm hoping that, I might have to take a couple of weeks without him. But at the same time, if he's able to come back and he's healthy throughout the year, like I said, it is a value in the second round. So far right now on my team, I have Kyle Tucker and Corbin Carroll, so looking pretty good here. 2 outfielders. Normally you want to get as many outfielders as you can that makes sense for your team. You kind of ideally want to get 4 in the first, I would say 8 to 9 rounds, just because of their scarcity in the draft. Outfielders tend to go fast, and so normally you don't have many that are available. As you kind of get to the end of the draft. Infielders, you usually have quite a few values at the end of the draft, and pitchers, you can always find some value at the end. But I would say in priority, I would say outfielders, pitchers, and then infielders when I'm usually making my teams. So let's see, this draft is going the way it goes. This last one, obviously, is on auto draft. Takes Christopher Sanchez. That goes pretty early, so not a bad pick, I guess, in a sense. He is one of the top pitchers, but a little bit early compared to ADP for Christopher Sanchez. Right after I picked Churio went, Guerrero, Alonso, Woods, Alvarez, Crow, Armstrong. So no major surprises. Yamamoto, usually the 4th pitcher that goes off the board. Sanchez, like I said, a little bit of a surprise, a little bit early. Obviously, probably auto draft, so maybe his rankings are off, but. Then Caminero, Roman Anthony, Brent Rooker, and we are going to be up here pretty soon. Let's see if there's any value left. Gunnar Henderson is up still available. Bellinger, who I like, Riley Green, and Wyatt Langford. So a little bit of value available for my third pick. And right now I'm probably going to be leaning on Matt Olson got taken. I like taking Matt Olson, so that's kind of a pick that got taken. I'm probably going to lean into if Gunnar Henderson is still available, I'm going to take him. Otherwise, I am going to most likely take Cody Bellinger and just target, again, guys that are in strong batting lineups. Like I said, like the Dodgers, the Yankees, I would say the Cubs are one. Kind of those are my favorites. The Phillies, obviously, are a strong batting lineup. So teams like that, I always kind of like to target them because you always have production that's available. So let's go with Cody Bellinger on this one. So we kind of loaded up on 3 outfielders already, which I'm not too sad about. Like I said, It's hard to get good value of outfielders later in the draft unless you know your prospects and you kind of. But at the same time, prospects are hit or miss, right? Like for every Evan Carter that was going pretty early in the drafts a couple of years ago. He's kind of on the late round, but you're hoping that maybe that guy can turn it around in his third year. But at the same time, there's a lot of risk involved with the younger players. But that's the thing you take if you don't take any outfielders early or in the mid draft. You're kind of hoping for some rookies to kind of go off or second year players to kind of improve from last year. So like I said, we are with 3 outfielders already. We're Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, and Cody Bellinger. So I'm going to see who I can target now. Then you got Francisco Lindor. Do I take 2 guys with a hamate bone injury? Maybe I'll pass on Lindor because I know I'm going to be missing Corbin Carroll for a bit. But once again, look at that value on Lindor. This guy was going probably in the late second round. So a lot of value still available. And Lindor, like the Mets are going to be, I think, a really good batting lineup, obviously with Alonso. And you have Lindor when he comes back, and Bo Bichette. So a lot of value still available on that one. I'm not really liking anything here in terms of infielders. Let's take Jackson Merrill here. Again, another outfielder, so I'm really loaded up on the outfielders to kind of maybe cover for Corbin Carroll till he comes back. I got 4 outfielders right now. I am outfielder heavy. This is one of those drafts where I probably will only take 6 outfielders and load up on the infielders and pitchers. Just the value of Jackson Merrill, who's still young. I think this is his 3rd year. Didn't have the year that everyone kind of assumed that he would last year. Everyone thought he would ascend to a different level, but he didn't really get there. As you can see, 7.6 points per game, fantasy points per game, but was injured throughout the year, so he didn't really get a lot of at-bats that we normally thought he would. So possibly there's a chance that he comes back a little bit stronger, plays a little bit more this year, and is off the injury list and is able to kind of put up stats. He's obviously a young player, kind of entering his 3rd year, so obviously it's time for that contract to come up, and you got to start putting up those stats to kind of get that max contract. So I'm hoping that this is the year where Jackson Merrill kind of maybe is 1 year later on what we thought would be a ascension into the 1st or 2nd round. So maybe this is the year that he kind of puts it together and is able to come in and have a great year. So, but liking my outfielders so far. I got 4 in my first 4 picks. So now I'll probably start looking at infielders and looking at pitchers. People that can kind of get now will be the ones I target. So let's see what I have available to me. Obviously, you kind of want to create stacks. Obviously, it helps as you build teams because if the whole thing is the kind of daily fantasy. If a team goes off and you got a stack going, that's really the best way to maximize your fantasy points. I like to do it as well, but at the same time, I don't want to do it where I'm kind of sacrificing some picks in the draft to get some good value. So if it's available to me and it's within reasonable ADP, I will do it. But if not, I'm not going to push it too hard. In this case, I got a couple of picks. I got Machado or I got Perdomo. Obviously, Perdomo had a great year last year, a little bit better than expected. So there's always that risk there where a player comes out of nowhere and has a great year, and it could possibly be a one-off. But at the same time, and this guy makes it easier for me. He takes Perdomo. I think at this point, given the players that are available, I'm going to probably go with a pitcher, and I'm going to go with Logan Webb. Is he one of those sexy names that puts up crazy stats? No, but this man is, he eats innings. Like this guy, look at this, 39 games played last year in the season, 227 innings. So like the good thing about Logan Webb is he's out there a lot. And what you think when you every time you have an inning pitched for a pitcher, that means fantasy points. And they do accumulate a lot of fantasy points, given if they have a good start. Could there be some negative points? Obviously, but you see like how he can put up 30 points in the last couple of weeks of the season when it's playoffs is so valuable. A couple of duds in there, but as you can see, consistently 7 to 8 innings a game. That is so clutch. But obviously there's risk of injury, but at the same time, like I said, just a steady player as a pitcher, someone that you can kind of keep on your in your bullpen for best ball. That helps as well. So you look at a second pitcher here. Let's go with Hunter Green. So Hunter Green is on the ascension, the ace for the Reds. The only thing is he did get injured last year. He always picks up injuries, but when he's on, he's pretty good. Puts up over 20 fantasy points a game. Yeah, 20.6. Has a little bit of sometimes can be control issues, but it also sometimes doesn't really pitch late into, doesn't give you many quality starts, which doesn't really matter on DK because it's not a stat that they count under other compared to underdog. So a little bit of a risk. Obviously, I think he missed about 2 months last year with injury. Otherwise, he was coming up. He had a really good season. If he didn't miss those 2 months, Hunter Green would have been up there, I think, and most likely would be maybe going, I would say, I guess the same as Logan Webb, maybe a little bit higher, because he did have a really good season. I guess he would kind of get into the Chris Sale type of round, maybe in the, I would say in this right here in the 5th round. That's where you probably would find Hunter Green if he was, didn't miss many games last year. So so missing 2 months kind of throws you off. You're missing about, I would say, at least, that's 8 weeks. You're missing about like 8 to 10 starts. So that is a lot. That's, it's quite a few fantasy points that you're missing out on. But like I said, the thing is with Hunter Green, when he is available, and hopefully he's available throughout the year, this year, a lot more than last year, he gives you a good score when it comes to your pitchers for the week. So liking the pitchers so far. I haven't taken any infielders yet. So my team right now consists of Logan Webb, Hunter Green, and then I have 4 outfielders: Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, and Jackson Merrill. So it's probably time to look for some value. Otherwise, I will probably go for an infielder. So there goes one of my guys. That's Michael Busch. So Michael Busch is in his 3rd year. I really like him. He has his WOBA is increasing every year. Barrel rate's increasing every year. I think he is one of the next Cal Rileys for this year. I think last year he had a great year, almost over 30 home runs. I think he can increase that. So I think if you have somebody around this ADP in this draft, target Michael Busch. I know you won't be disappointed. The Cubs have a good batting lineup. It's him, it's Happ, it's Suzuki. You got Crow Armstrong in there as well. So they have a solid order, and they're a team that's competing every year. So definitely look out for him. I'm going to go a little bit here and look for a player that I think will bounce back. I'm hoping bounce back, and that's Austin Riley. So Austin Riley's been bit by the injury bug for the last 2 years. There's chances are it probably could happen again. But when he's on and he's in that loaded Braves lineup, and if he's able to stay healthy, as you can see, he was only able to get 102 games in, but consistently was able to play quite a few just before that, as he, had some monstrous seasons the years prior. So his health has just been a concern, but if he's able to stay healthy this year, I am getting a value. Like I said, he is in that heart of that Atlanta Braves lineup. So like right now, it's just injuries. So I think with this team, I'm just kind of going off of the issue of having to deal with injuries, like obviously with Corbin Carroll, Austin Riley, players like this that can obviously give you monster seasons, and just hope that they can stay injury free. Obviously, Corbin Carroll, when he comes back, it's just the hope that he comes back soon, and there's not too much loss of power or any diminishing production when he comes back. So we are up here pretty quick here. We have the option of adding another pitcher, which I probably will do. I like some of the pitchers that are available here. So I got Valdez, or I got Luzardo. So I like both, to be honest. I really don't mind. But I think I will go with Valdez. Luzardo is a good pick. I'm not trying to scare you off of him, but he had a little bit of an issue last year. I think he was a little bit of consistency. I think he was hot to start off with, but then kind of cooled down the second half. So I don't know, maybe it was fatigue or maybe just some inconsistencies with him. But at this point, there's not much of a difference, I would say, between Framber Valdez and Jesus Luzardo. So you can't go wrong. Pick your guy. I'm a Framber fan, so I'll kind of go with Framber. And just because of the value kind of that I get around that area of the draft, I'm happy to go with him. So I do currently have my lineup right now consisting of 3 pitchers, 1 infielder, and 4 outfielders. Probably need to kind of get on that infielder train a little bit and try to pick up some good quality ones. Because obviously, like with Austin Riley, if he's on, happy with the pick of where I've gotten him. That's a big value, because Austin Riley normally is a round, I think he was going round 2 last year, round 3 last year. So obviously a big value pick. But at the same time, if he's not healthy, then it doesn't all for nothing. But let's see here: Logan Webb, Hunter Green, Framber Valdez. Austin Riley is my infielder. Then I have Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, and Jackson Merrill as my outfielders. So outfielders are looking good. If I can pick up a one right now, then maybe I can get a value of that would be good. But for infielders, let's see what I have available to me right now. Really just Bryce Terang on the Brewers, who's okay. He had a good year last year. One of my players as well that I've been kind of tracking, who's also has increasing counting stats year over year, getting better. So Terang is not a bad pick. Joe Ryan would be a good pick, but at the same time, Joe Ryan had that back issue. MRI was done over the weekend. It's only inflammation, minor inflammation, so he should be okay. Obviously, they just lost Pablo Lopez, so he automatically becomes the ace if he wasn't already. Joe Ryan is a little bit of a tricky pick. Like, you obviously get a lot of value, but at the same time, a little bit of a scare as well. I love Trevor Rogers, and I just can't pass that up. So I'm going to take Trevor Rogers, who came back last year, was pretty solid. I think, he came back from Tommy John, and put up some, had a great season. Consistently started getting like more and more comfortable as the season went on. As you can see, 7 innings consistently through the month of August, 21.5 fantasy points per game. Other than this little dud here at the end, pretty consistently over like 15 fantasy points, which is great. I love the value of Trevor Rogers there. Kind of goes pretty late, but at the same time, like, it's one of those things where it's obviously health is a concern. So right now my team has 4 pitchers, 1 infielder, and 4 outfielders. So a little bit light on the infielders that I'm hoping to kind of make up. But like I said, there's too much good value right now with the outfielders. And I think I'm kind of going with this draft that I'm going to be probably taking outfielders mostly, and relying on maybe going with some extra infielders at the end. Maybe this will be a 7-7-6 build with 7 pitchers, 7 infielders. So I'm going to take Trent Grisham here, just to kind of go. So I guess this is my the situation where I'm getting a Yankee stack with Bellinger. I didn't have to go too far from ADP, so I like Grisham there. Right now, projected to be leading leading off on that loaded Yankees lineup. So nothing wrong with that. If you're batting just before Aaron Judge and Bellinger, I think it's a good place to be and a good pick to make. Obviously, had a little bit of a outlier year in terms of 34 home runs. But if you can kind of repeat that or get close to that, I'm happy with that, especially as my fifth outfielder. So outfielder is looking really good for me. I'm really happy with the outfielders I have currently. And now I just kind of have to start picking up on the infielders. But right now we have a build of 4-1-3, 4 pitchers who are Logan Webb, Hunter Green, Framber Valdez, and Trevor Rogers. My sole infielder right now is Austin Riley, so only one infielder so far. And then my 5 outfielders are Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, Jackson Merrill, and Trent Grisham to kind of build the Yankee stack the best I can. So yeah, I've been promising an infielder, and I keep on going outfielder or pitcher, but the value sometimes is too good to pass up. To a Jacob Wilson here, not bad. Hitting over 300, 144 games, so not bad, right? But he goes, so it doesn't really make a difference. Do I dare take Trevor Story? The man who could. The story about Trevor Story is that he can't really stay healthy, but I feel like the narrative of my team is if they can stay healthy, they'll smash. So let's stay with the narrative of this team. If they're healthy, they will smash. And Trevor Story fits that build better than anybody. So Austin Riley, Trevor Story, best buddies. These guys probably encouraging each other to stay healthy. And for my best ball team's sake, let's take him. And so right now, he slots in as our second infielder with Austin Riley. So 2 guys obviously fit the mold of if they can stay healthy, they will smash. As you can see, Trevor Story had a pretty decent season last year in Boston, and always the concern about him was always that he can't stay healthy, but he did stay healthy. Played 160 games, batted 266, 26 home runs, 99 RBIs, and 8.5 fantasy points per game. So somebody that you can get around that area is obviously somebody that should be going earlier in these best ball drafts, but doesn't because of the concerns about injury risk. Sometimes you just got to eat that risk. Take those guys that, it could work out and it might not, but the upside, the benefit is way better than the risk of losing. And so, sometimes you just got to take a risk. Like I said, I have with my infielder so far, so I'm just going to kind of stick to that and keep on going. So, let's see what we have available at this stage. And got Carpenter, we got Glass now. Just kind of scares me. Murakami, a little bit of an unknown. Michael King, Robbie Ray, Ozuna. Let's take Michael King. Again, a little bit of a risk with him. Didn't have a great season, got hurt, and missed about 3 months of the year. And when he came back, he was absolute shit. But he had a pretty good start to the season, as you can see. So it was a tale of 2 halves. As you can see, just before he got injured, consistently had a 34 burger in there, 43, 26, 23. Came back and just wasn't the same guy. Could barely get in a full game. So here's hoping that he's healthy this year. Again, one of the guys that kind of fits into the mold of this team, the narrative of this team. If they're healthy, they will smash. Michael King is projected to be the number 2, I think. The number 2 probably after Pivetta in that Padres rotation. So, I'm going to take him. I think he has obviously some great upside as well if he's able to stay healthy based on what he was able to do the first half before he did get injured, and then in the second half was a totally different story. But like I said, if he's able to stay healthy, we're looking good here. If you're watching it after the fact of this live, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like any of the content, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the team. Let me know what your favorite sleepers are for this year. I really like Michael Bush. I like Shea Langeliers. Just two guys I think are going to be, will go higher in drafts next year for sure based on this year. So, just a little bit worried about Murakami here, but let's take Murakami. We have no idea what we're looking at. Just came over from Japan, batting in the White Sox lineup, which I don't even know why I took him, but I guess sometimes the value is there with the ADP. But we have no idea what we're going to get. He's I don't know. He's supposed to be a really good hitter. That's really all I can tell you. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know much about him. But let's see what I can find out about his spring training so far. I think he had a decent start to his spring training. I think he just debuted yesterday, maybe. Yeah, so he batted cleanup. He was late to the spring training game because of traffic, so. But he had a 2 for 4, 2-run double, a single, a strikeout, which is not bad, right? We'll take that. But I guess like with my infielders, it's all going to be like pretty much just luck right now. So it is what it is. I'm going to take one of my other favorite infielders, and that's Wilson Contreras from Boston to kind of go with my Trevor Story. So we're going to make another stack there. I like Wilson Contreras. I think he's going into a really good situation in Boston. And I think it's probably a good feeling to finally play for a team that is going to get contend this year. So I think Contreras is another guy that you can get late in the drafts as an infielder, and he is right now currently slotted to bat cleanup in that loaded Boston lineup. So I think that's something that people kind of overlook, potentially a good fit for a new team, and Wilson Contreras kind of fits that build. I kind of am able to kind of double dip and then also have the Trevor Story stack with him. So look out for Contreras as well in your drafts. Like I said, right now he's slotted to be the number 4 spot, the cleanup in that loaded top lineup. So, and also a change of scenery for him as well. Like I said, maybe you get a little bit more of a jolt as you're kind of playing in games that matter a little bit more than playing on the Cardinals, I think. So, he's a proven guy. And he should be good in the park as well. So, Wilson Contreras is another guy that you can kind of target late in your drafts as well. So let's kind of go over our team real quickly here before my next pick. So we currently have 5 pitchers, 4 infielders, and 5 outfielders, batters. Our pitchers currently are Logan Webb, Hunter Green, Framber Valdez, Michael King, and Trevor Rogers. And my infielders are Austin Riley, Trevor Story, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but I'll say Murakami, and Wilson Contreras. And then my outfielders are Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, Trent Grisham. And so I have, So 5 outfielders are those ones. And sorry, just trying to look at who I can potentially take here. Okay, let's take another guy that fits our build of if they're healthy, they will smash, and that's Chris Bubich. That's another guy that had some little health concerns from last year. Was able to put up 138 innings, which isn't bad. But as you can see, little bit of a hot start to begin the season, or missed the beginning of the season, but then had a good start. A little bit of a good May, Then kind of slowed down a bit and near the end of the year, and then was only able to didn't finish the season, missed the last 2 months of the season. So a little bit of an injury concern with Chris Bubich. But if he, like, again, one of those guys, if he's able to stay healthy, you definitely have a value pick in him. And you're not taking him too early as well in the draft. So he kind of fits in as your sixth pitcher. If you get if you get a season out of him, more than what he was able to play last year, it's definitely a value. But at the same time, like I said, as my sixth pitcher, it's not too much risk that I'm taking on. But like I said, fitting the narrative of this team, if they're healthy, they will smash. And Chris Bubich is one of those guys. And he should be able to, hopefully, I think he slots in number one, or sorry, not number two. That's Cole Reagan's, but number two on that Royals lineup, a rotation as well for that one. And so we're back up here pretty quick here again. And I'm probably gonna go infielder. Sorry, and I'm gonna take Drake Baldwin. I think he again is kind of going a little bit late in drafts and has potential value. Had a good year last year. I think he was he was rookie of the year last year. So and had a great start to his career. He kind of fits in with that Austin Riley as well to kind of make a stack. Double dip on that one again. But like I said, Drake Baldwin is pretty, I think, a pretty undervalued player, and so someone that you could potentially take later in drafts if you haven't even a catcher, or if you're infielder for best ball. I think he kind of fits in as well, pretty well, and right now kind of fits in well in my fifth infielder spot. And hopefully it's one of those narratives that as a younger player he gets better, and so there's a good pick there later in the draft. So we have some time, so we'll kind of go over my team real quickly here. We're right now looking at 6 pitchers, 5 infielders, and 5 outfielders. So we've caught up on the infielders. We were really late to kind of get those guys, so we've kind of caught up. And now we have 5 of them, but our pitchers are Logan Webb, Hunter Green, Framber Valdez, and then Trevor Rogers, Michael King, and Chris Bubich. And our infielders are Austin Riley, Trevor Story, Murakami, Wilson Contreras, and Drake Baldwin. And our outfielders currently are Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, Jackson Merrill, and that's it. Oh, sorry, Trent Grisham. Sorry. So we have the option of kind of going a little bit as to maybe best player available. Dansby Swatson's pretty reliable. Like, you know what you're gonna get with him. I just can't stop taking my guy here, Brendan Donovan. I just think that he is in such a great position since getting traded to the Mariners. And right now, I think he's still slotted. I don't think anything's changed. I'll just double check here. Still slotted as a leadoff hitter for the Mariners. So that does not hurt at all when you are leading off and the guys behind you are named Julio Rodriguez, Cal Riley, Josh Naylor, and Randy Arozarena. Man, I don't know. Sorry about that. But yeah, he's batting leadoff in that loaded lineup in the Mariners. And he has good contact skills. So he just got to get on base, and those runs will pile up. But a lot of opportunity for him as well on that loaded Mariners lineup. So I think he's a great value pick as well. Another infielder, like I said, if you can wait on infielders for a little bit, grab your pitchers, grab your outfielders. There's some guys here, late in the drafts that you can kind of take that are good fits for your team. So let's see who else is available now. I think the most sense right now would be kind of go here. Let's take Max Muncy to kind of we kind of know what we're getting with Max, and I think the reason is that because I have Kyle Tucker, so I'm just trying to make the Dodgers stack here. I don't have a great stack. I don't have more than 2 of them for each of the stacks I do currently have, but I think Muncy fits well. He's kind of reliable. You kind of, like I said, you know what you're getting with him. There's no surprises. It's obviously health, but like I said, any players you kind of get in loaded lineups like the Dodgers or like the Braves or the Mariners, it doesn't hurt. So right now I'll take him, and I think I'm good for my infielders. Obviously, I have 7 now, so I started off late with the infielders, had a big run of all infielders pretty much for my last few rounds here. So I'm good on that. Still need another outfielder, because I'll probably gonna go with 6 outfielders, obviously in this case, just because my first 4 picks were outfielders, so I'm pretty happy with those 2. 4, and I got Trent Grisham, which I'm pretty high on as well as my 5th. So I just need somebody that can kind of fit in as my 6th, that can kind of give me some consistent batting, and I kind of know what I'm getting with him as well. So some guys that kind of look at, maybe like take a Spencer Jones. Just not sure how many bats you get, but at least I get that little bit of a Yankee stack as well going there. Got Isaac Collins, man. Like he gets a better situation now going to Kansas City. But yeah, you got PRP injection in both his knees. So I wonder how that's gonna play out. But if he's healthy, he will smash. That's a good lineup that he's gonna be part of. I think I'm probably gonna end up having to go with Collins. Yeah. So I ended up getting Isaac Collins. He's batting in the Kansas City lineup, and they made some adjustments to their park, which should benefit him. He's playing in the middle of the order. Batting in the middle of the order, around I think 5th or 6th spot. So you kind of know what you're getting. A little consistency here. Not the greatest, but hopefully, like I said, a little bit of a change in scenery to Kansas City will help him. So gonna kind of go with him as my 6th outfielder. I'm not really concerned in terms of, I probably should have taken somebody that has a little bit more of maybe a rookie. But I guess Isaac Collins is pretty young as well, so there's room for him to improve. Other guys I probably could target later, they're not many, I guess. Jordan Walker, the legend of Jordan Walker continues. He's somebody that you could target if you believe that this is the year that he'll make that jump. Zach Veen is kind of interesting. He said he was battling some substance abuse problems, some injuries last year. Hit a home run yesterday in spring training. So maybe he's back. He's batting in Coors Field, so you're always going to be there. But I should have queued up somebody. Coupons. Let's take a little bit of a flyer. Let's take Joe Musgrove as my last pitcher and my last pick. Mr. Musgrove is back. He is back from Tommy John. Apparently there's no innings cap off for him this year, so if he feels comfortable, he's going to go out there and pitch as many innings as he can handle. Obviously, a pitcher that we all well know, wasn't able to play last year because of Tommy John, but pretty solid player. So if he's able to come back and be a little decent, he's not bad as a 7th pitcher. You can basically get him for free at the end of your drafts. I think somebody that you should, if you are doing fantasy baseball season long, then probably somebody that you kind of keep in your back of your head. Maybe just monitor, see what he's doing, maybe see how his first start goes. Let's see how he's spring training. Let's see how he does. But I think he's potentially a guy that can bounce back. It seems like a lot of the players, the majority of the players that come back from Tommy John do so and are decent, but at the same time, you got to be able to understand the importance of where they're getting drafted. And as a 7th pitcher, I just need some consistency out of him. Really, I just need a 7th guy that can possibly last till the end of the year, and when it comes time to best ball playoffs, is able to give me a start or two and put up some decent stats. So that's really what all you hope for with the 7th pitcher, just kind of consistency. If your top guys do go down for any extended period of time, the 7th guy can kind of fit in there and is able to kind of fill in that gap for a little bit of time. So But that is the team. We are looking at a build of 7 pitchers, 7 infielders, and 6 outfielders. The reason I went with 6 outfielders was because I took my first 4 picks were outfielders, so I'm pretty happy with the 4 I got, and I'm thinking that I can probably ride these guys barring any injury throughout the season. Obviously, the big wild card is Corbin Carroll, so I've kind of named this team. If they stay healthy, they will smash. Corbin Carroll, if he's able to come back and just give me normal Corbin Carroll, I'm willing to kind of eat the first month or so until he comes back. But you see, if he's normal Corbin Carroll, getting him in the second round on pick 17 is currently a value. So Cody Bellinger returns to the Yankees. Did pretty well last year. I'm thinking nothing changes, and he has a decent season as my third outfielder. And Jackson Merrill, I'm hoping as well that he's able to stay healthy this year and make that ascension into one of the top, into the top outfielders that we kind of had hopes for last year for him. And he's kind of able to, because I think he was going in the second round last year. So a little bit of a value right now, because if he's able to step back up and kind of have that rookie season repeat, Jackson Merrill in the 4th round is not too bad. So obviously, those are my first 4 picks. Then I went with pitchers. I took Logan Webb. The thing with Logan Webb is he's Mr. Consistency. He will give you more than 200 innings. And the more innings you get, the better chance you have of more fantasy points throughout the game. So even if he's not having the greatest game, but all those innings, all those stats he puts up with Logan Webb, who's an Iron Man, that's always helpful. Then I took the risk and took a chance on Hunter Green. Like I said, missed 2 months last year, which kind of ate into his production. Otherwise, he'd probably be going the same round as Logan Webb for sure, maybe even higher with Hunter Brown. So, a little bit of a value with Hunter Green given his history. So I'm hoping I can kind of cash in and maybe he's able to stay healthy this year, and that would help. And the next man is also another man. If they can stay healthy, they'll smash. Austin Riley, who I'm getting in the 7th round. Austin Riley consistently was going the 2nd, 3rd round last year in best ball draft, so able to get a good value in him in the 7th. And then I picked Mr. Consistency, another pitcher that I kind of rely on, and that's Framber Valdez, who kind of moves over to Detroit, where I think he will do well, and I think he joins a good rotation and a good team. So I think Framber will be fine joining the Tigers. And then I picked Trevor Rogers, another guy that came on late because of injury. Tommy John again was able to come back on, as you can see, late in the year, and just smashed, did really well. And somebody that you're hoping a full season that you can get out of, if he can put up the stats he kind of had to his season last year, where he just kind of came in June and pitched the second half of the season. If you get a full year of Trevor Rogers like that, I'm pretty happy with that pick in the 9th round. Then I went with Trent Grisham, just because he was available. It was a good pick in terms of ADP. Made sense. Kind of get a 5th outfielder. And then I also, works well because he's part of my stack now with Cody Bellinger. So Trent Grisham, hitting leadoff on that loaded Yankees lineup doesn't hurt. Had a good year last year, career year last year, and hoping just to kind of get that the same thing this year. Then I picked my 2nd infielder, and one of the other guys of the team, if they stay healthy, they will smash. Trevor Story. Everyone was passing on him last year, and he had a healthy year, and he put up some crazy numbers, and his ADP is still a lot lower because everyone still doesn't trust him. They still think there's obviously a lot of risk with him, given his injury history. But like I said, if he was able to put a healthy season in last year, if he's able to do it again, another great value in the 11th round as my 2nd infielder. And I took Michael King. I was kind of talking about him before as well. Michael King had a great start to the season, was going off, and then got hurt, and then as he came back maybe he came back too early, or maybe he wasn't healed, came back in the second half of the season and then didn't do too well. So maybe he came back too early, or just still injured. But let's hope that Michael King is now healthy and ready to go, and if we can get the same start we can get this year, the same start that he had last year kind of going into this year, that's a great value pick as well for him as my 5th pitcher. Then I took Murakami. Muntaka Murakami, I have no idea in terms of what he's going to do at the MLB level. Had a promising spring season start, as we obviously I kind of reiterated yesterday. He's going to be batting, in a lineup, in the White Sox lineup that should be a little bit better. I know they suck, and we kind of have our, but he looks like he's gonna be batting cleanup behind Colson Montgomery, who had a good year, a good start to his rookie year. So let's hope that maybe the White Sox are on the up a little bit, right? And Murakami, like I said, batting cleanup, will get a lot of opportunities at bats if he's able to stay healthy. Can't get sent to the minors as part of his contract, so he's going to be up there. So I think and he was going, I think, 15 spots past ADP. So at that point, let's just take the pick. Obviously a lot of risk because we don't know what we're going to get, but like I said, that's the name of this team, the narrative of this team. Next, I took Wilson Contreras to kind of go with my Trevor Story. Batting cleanup, came over from St. Louis. I think he's going to do well. Like I said, I have high hopes for him this year. Batting cleanup for that loaded Red Sox lineup. Also being able to move on from a team and being with a contender also kind of helps your psyche and help your mentality. So I think definitely excited about Contreras, who I can get in the 14th round. And he was my 4th infielder. Then I took Chris Bubich, who I have kind of the same thing as for if he's able to stay healthy, he'll do well. Had missed the last 2 months of the year, but was pretty decent, not too bad, right? 18.7 fantasy points per game. Was able to kind of do 138 innings. So like I said, he missed the last 2 months. That equals about another 5-6 starts possibly. So if I'm able to get that from him, and he's able to stay healthy in that Royals lineup, then I'm kind of happy with that pick as well. And like I said, as my 6th pitcher, just hoping that he can kind of stay healthy and give me some consistency. Then I took Drake Baldwin, who I'm very excited for. I think he will take another step up as my fifth infielder. I definitely have high hopes, I think, for him in terms of where I'm getting him in the draft and what I think he's capable of. I think the Braves will be a lot better this year, and then he also goes with my Austin Riley stack, so taking Drake Baldwin there. Then I went back and I took Brendan Donovan because he is currently going to be batting leadoff on that loaded Mariners lineup, so it doesn't hurt when you have, like I said, Julio, Cal Raleigh, Rosarena, and guys like that are going batting behind you. So they're definitely a great pick. I believe later in the drafts for anybody. Like I said, I'm getting him on pick 200. So definitely has a lot of potential in that lineup. Then I took Max Muncy as my 7th infielder, just to kind of go with my Kyle Tucker stack. So I do have the Braves, Boston, and Dodgers stack, but really only got two of them out of I would ideally like to get more, but just the way that drafts go in this sense, just able to get Max Muncy to kind of go with my Kyle Tucker, and he's my 7th infielder. So I kind of started off slow with the infielders, but as you can see, 5 out of my 6 picks from starting from the 13th round were all infielders. So and then I took Isaac Collins as my 6th outfielder. Just need some consistency out of him, hoping that as he joins that Royals lineup in a better park now, better hitting situation, that maybe that helps. But the PRP injection into your knees kind of scare you, but at the same time, if you can give me some decent consistency throughout the year, I'm happy with that. And my last pitcher is my 7th pitcher, and that is Joe Musgrove, coming back from Tommy John. I didn't pitch at all last year. No innings cap from what the manager has told us, so we were hoping that we can kind of get a good rebound from him. And he's able to kind of give us some decent innings this year. He's obviously he's very good in terms of like his seasons prior to his Tommy John. So I think that there's obviously a potential for him to do really well and kind of get comfortable. Maybe I'm a season too early. I think maybe if he's able to come back this year and be fine, maybe next year will be the year where he kind of takes that level back up to and back to being Joe Musgrove again. But This is, like I said, at this stage, the talent is hopefully still there. Now it's just kind of getting over that injury, and maybe I can get some decent innings out of him. I'm happy with that. So with that, once again, just a final rundown of my team. We went with a 7 pitcher, 7 infielder, and 6 outfielder build. My pitchers are Logan Webb, Hunter Green, Framber Valdez, Trevor Rogers, Michael King. I don't even think I talked about Trevor Rogers, but anyways, Trevor Rogers, Michael King, Chris Bubich, and Joe Musgrove. And my infielders are Austin Riley, Trevor Story, Muntaka Murakami, Wilson Contreras, Drake Baldwin, Brendan Donovan, and Max Muncy. And then my outfielders are Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Cody Bellinger, Jackson Merrill, Isaac Collins, and Trent Grisham. So that is the team. That's obviously the winning best ball team for this tournament. So you might have to join another tournament and try your luck there. But I hope you enjoyed this draft. I hope you enjoyed the insight I've provided. It's not very stat heavy. I kind of go off of what I read and kind of go off of what I've seen. But at the same time, I think I make some good arguments for some players given their fit on new teams. I kind of talked about Michael Busch being the guy that I think will be the next Cal Raleigh this year. I think he's going to put up a monster season. It was kind of went early on this draft. I wasn't able to snag him there. But I like Michael Busch. I like Shea Langeliers. Like Drake Baldwin, like Brendan Donovan. Those are my guys this year for sure. So those are some infielders that if you need, maybe you gotta go outfielder, pitcher heavy in the beginning, and then kind of target those infielders. I think they will all be great picks this year. But with that, your fantasy football, I guess your dad is done for this draft. And please, like I said, please like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Just love doing this content and just want to put out more as well. But just love having that feedback from everyone out there to let me know how I'm doing. And so if you can leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know some of your sleepers. Let me know if I made some good picks. Let me know if I didn't. And I hope you liked this. If they stay healthy, they will smash team. With that, take care, everybody. 1 month left. Get your best ball in, and I'll be back very soon again with another draft. All the best.